1 in the morning, I received a package. Upon opening it, I found a letter and several small items inside a wristband I wore while playing basketball in high school with guitar. Pick a few group photos. I wondered which friend was playing this nostalgia prank on me. But when I picked up the envelope and took a closer look, I froze. The letter had actually been sent 10 years ago. The elegant, lively handwriting looked familiar, and when I saw the sender, my heart skipped a beat. The face of a tomboyish girl instantly flashed before my eyes. You gotta be kidding me. After all this time, you're still messing with me. 10 years ago, I was still in my senior year of high school. Because of my poor grades and carefree attitude, the homeroom teacher had seated me in the last row. No one wanted to be my deskmate, so I was left alone keeping company with the trash can. 3 days after the semester started, a new student transferred from another school. The student had a very androgynous style hair, neither short nor long, fair skin, bright eyes, and wore a denim jacket. The girls in the class all looked at them with hearts in their eyes, probably thinking the class had finally gotten a handsome guy. The homeroom teacher seemed to know about her, his face dark with anger. Alex Walker, we can see your dorm from here, and you're still late for your first class. The girl raised an eyebrow and shot back, you can see the sun from here, too. Why don't you go up and try? The entire class held their breath, certain she was doomed. Our homeroom teacher was notorious for his temper. Legend had it he once fought off 3 troublemakers single-handedly at the school gate in a spectacular brawl. To everyone's surprise, the teacher just waved his hand dismissively. Find a seat, we're starting math now. The classmate walked straight to my side, casually stuffed her backpack into the desk, took off the iPod earbuds hanging from her ears, pulled out a math textbook, and stared at the podium. I greeted her, hey, dude, you better be careful, our homeroom teacher loves to. She shot me a disdainful glance. Who's your dude? My jaw nearly hit the floor. She was actually a girl. Damn, she was way too cocky. Even though we were desk mates, we barely exchanged more than 10 sentences a week. This girl was always cool as ice, either listening to her iPod, reading comics, or doodling her notebook. One Thursday afternoon, she made herself a cup of instant noodles, and when a bit of broth spilled on the desk, she barked at me, Cox, hand me a tissue. I nearly spat blood and protested loudly, my name is Leo Cox, not Cox. She waved her hand impatiently. Paper. I handed her a tissue with great displeasure. She wiped the table, crumpled the tissue, and tossed it into the trash can before retorting at an even louder volume, what's the big deal about yelling? Think being called Cox makes you special. The surrounding classmates burst into laughter, and thus this unpleasant and sexually suggestive nickname followed me all the way until the SAT exams. This was the first grudge between her and me. The second incident happened in computer class. Back then, all the boys loved playing computer games. Whenever the teacher was lecturing, we'd disconnect to play CS. Having fun playing, my best friend Ryan raised his hand. Teacher, my computer crashed. As soon as Ryan finished speaking, complaints erupted throughout the classroom. Mine is dead too. This whole row is dead. Same here, same here. The computer teacher was a bit of a hack, fiddling for ages without fixing it, his face flushed with panic. Is there anyone whose computer isn't dead? I felt extremely awkward looking around. I realized mine was the only computer still working in the entire lab. Alex, sitting to my left, stood up and said, Leo Cox isn't dead yet. The teacher stomped over behind me and asked a soul-piercing question. The whole class is dead. Why aren't you dead yet? I forced a pale smile and replied, maybe my will to survive is stronger than most. To my surprise, Alex snatched my mouse, clicked open my browser tabs with dramatic flair, and declared righteously, teacher, he's the one who brought the virus. He's been browsing porn sites. At that moment, countless heads turned toward me, and the disheveled blonde on my screen struck a seductive pose. I wished I could vanish into thin air. That afternoon, the whole school knew about how I crashed the computer lab while browsing porn. Girls avoided me like the plague, while guys would pat me on the shoulder and say, didn't you know you had such bold taste, blondes, huh? My reputation had always been shaky, but only academically. Thanks to Alex, it was now completely ruined. Staring at her smug face, I thought you asked for this. To Leo, long time no. See, it's Alex, your most disliked deskmate. If I guessed right, you should be 28 now. How have you been? Did you achieve your dreams? Or have you become the kind of adult you used to despise? You must be surprised to receive my letter. We sat together for a whole year, yet never had a proper conversation. What a pity. I always embarrassed you and ruined your chances time after time. You must have found me really annoying, right? You used to say I was a weird girl, sloppy like a boy, lacking any feminine reserve, but all that was just my way of protecting myself. When I like something, I only dare to watch from afar, too afraid to even reach out and touch it. When I like someone, I can't. To show my true feelings, I'm terrified that people and things I care about will disappear if I get too close. You're the warmest person I've ever met, always so cheerful. Being with you makes it feel like all the world's troubles could be forgotten. That's why so many times when you greeted me, my heart would leap with joy, yet I'd put on a face of impatience. When you lent me things, though I meant to thank you, I still scolded you for being too slow. Walking beside you, I wanted to be closer, yet my steps would unconsciously quicken. I'm such a coward, aren't I? After careful observation, I discovered Alex had a morning jogging habit. So on one crisp morning, I put on my sweatpants, sped past her like the wind, and let out a contemptuous snort. Alex frowned, quickened her pace to catch up, clearly determined to challenge Me, joke S on her, my dad used to chase me around the yard as a kid, turning me into the ultimate escape artist. I accelerated further, turning my head to smirk at her. Don't push yourself too hard, wound T. Want you to fall and ruin that pretty face. Beads of sweat formed on Alex's forehead as she fired back arrogantly. Are you even a man panting like this after just a few steps? And so we went at it like two rival swords clashing lap after lap until the morning study bell rang. Alex showed no signs of stopping, forcing me to grit my teeth and keep running. Unexpectedly, our homeroom teacher noticed our absence and found U.S. Marathon running on the field. He even summoned the entire class to spectate the scene, turned into a roaring spectacle. All the girls cheered for Alex, while my so-called friends egged me on. Shamelessly, Leo, don't disgrace us, men. My breathing grew increasingly labored, and my legs felt like lead, though I hadn't been counting. We must have run over a dozen laps by now, yet Alex still moved with effortless grace. Damn, it is this woman insane, I cursed inwardly. The race finally ended when my legs gave out, sending me sprawling onto the grass. The group of girls erupted in cheers, while my so-called friends not only didn't help me up, but even kicked me in the ass. Alex bent over to catch her breath, flicking sweat from her forehead. Before sauntering over, she let out that same contemptuous snort, just like when I first challenged her. With the spectacle over, our homeroom teacher shooed us back to study hall. Upon entering the classroom, the teacher pointed at me. Leo Cox, 1 week of hallway cleaning duty. I said, why me? The homeroom teacher replied, because you skipped morning self-study. I protested indignantly, but Alex skipped it too. The teacher mocked, but she won the championship. Who told you to lose the race? The whole class burst into laughter. Alex also smiled as the morning sunlight streamed through the window, her lips curling slightly and her eyes forming a beautiful arc. But that expression lasted only a moment. When she noticed me looking at her, she quickly reverted to her usual arrogant demeanor, tilting her chin up to stare at the blackboard. Finally, one day, I caught Alex off guard. She was acting strangely that day. From morning until noon, she hadn't stood up once, and her face looked a little pale. When the class ended and everyone headed to the cafeteria for lunch, she remained stiffly seated. I glanced over and noticed bloodstains on her jeans. Immediately understanding what was going on, pretending to be enthusiastic, I blurted out, Alex, let me treat you to lunch in the cafeteria. Alex flatly refused. No. I smirked inwardly and taunted her again. I wasn't convinced after losing that race last time. I pulled an all-nighter at the arcade the other night. Let us run again. Alex said, if you're not convinced, we'll compete again tomorrow morning. I said, if we're competing, let us do it now. Are you scared? Alex glared at me with hatred, wanted to curse back, but not daring to stand up. That look of hating me, but being unable to do anything about it, gave me great satisfaction. After a few seconds, I figured it was about time. I took off my school uniform jacket and tossed it to her, lowering my voice. As I said, tie it around your waist. There, blood all over your pants. Alex's face turned red with a complicated expression, but she still took my jacket. I asked again, did you bring any? As she tied it around her waist, she said what I replied, what else could it be? Sanitary pads. She stood up like a startled cat, and I thought she was about to hit me. Instead, her face flushed even redder as she snapped, none of your business. I was exasperated. A woman more stubborn about her pride than any man. I pushed her back onto the stool and said, just sit tight and wait. I went to the school store and bought 2 packs of sanitary pads, only to run into my so-called friends at the worst possible moment. They mocked me with vulgar remarks, and after exchanging a few blows, I dashed back to the classroom. Only Alex was there. I handed her the items and told her to go change in the restroom. Maybe it was my imagination, but her face seemed to turn even redder. She pursed her lips, but didn't thank me. The next day, she returned my school uniform. It must have been washed by her, carrying the faint scent of laundry detergent. The girl had reverted to her usual cocky self, scolding me, your clothes are fucking filthy. The water turned black when I washed them. Despite her words from that day on, we became good friends, no more like close buddies. For I'm a timid and cowardly person, so I can only hide behind a cold facade. Do you remember that time we raced? I knew you let me win on purpose. You, who could take first place in the 5,000 meter at the school sports meet. How could you possibly lose to me? But with the whole class watching, you didn't wanting to lose face, so you chose to admit defeat yourself. That's just the kind of gentle person you are. And that time when I had my period, though you wanted to laugh at me, you still lent me your jacket and awkwardly went to the store to buy me pads. When I went to the bathroom, you even made noise on purpose, so the others wouldn't notice my embarrassment. During class, I always sneak glances at you while you slept. You'd stack your books high, rest your head on your arms, and sometimes even smile in your sleep. You were just that kind of happy person, as if even in your dreams there were endless joyful things. Leo, sometimes I wonder how wonderful it would be been if the first person you'd loved was me. 5 in our high school, only the good-looking ones deserved to be called seniors. The rest were just upperclassmen, slobs, or beanpoles. Similarly, only the pretty girls qualified as juniors, while the others were merely lowerclassmen, round as a ball or pimple-faced. By that standard, Jessica was a proper junior. She had beautiful long hair, fair skin, and lips like cherry blossoms at 17. She perfectly blended a girl-esque innocence with a woman-esque grace. Every time she was in the cafeteria, a crowd of boys would sneak glances at her. Sometimes they'd even fight over the best seats just to catch a glimpse of her. "Hey, old Alex, save me a seat at lunch later. I need to grab something first, Alex." And I had gotten close enough that I started calling him by his nickname. "No problem, whose seat? Do you want me to snatch?" Alex rolled up his sleeves. I almost spat blood. This person's thought process is absolutely messed up. I mean, going early to grab seats like that row near the left window, anyone will do. You're gonna sneak a peek at Jessica too, Alex. Saw right through me. Why does everything sound so vulgar when you say it? It's called appreciating beauty, got it? What kind of beauty is that? Alex said with utter disdain. How can your taste be so crude? Just slapping on some makeup and lipstick, people might mistake her for a streetwalker. Jealous? You're just jealous. She's got more femininity than you. Idiot, Alex retorted with her catchphrase, "Go fight for a seat yourself." I'm heading back to the dorm. That noon, I made a fool of myself. After lunch, I was smoking behind the cafeteria when a janitor stormed over furious, who said, "You could smoke here, come to my office later and write an apology letter." I couldn't be bothered with him and kept the cigarette dangling from my lips, since when do janitors get their own offices? I later found out the man was the newly transferred vice principal. The whole school was cleaning up for city inspection, and he put on work clothes to pitch in. The whole affair ended with me receiving a major demerit and having to read an apology letter before the entire school. At the time, inspiration struck, and I composed an exceptionally eloquent apology. I delivered it from the podium with dramatic fervor. I must have been blind, mistaking our vice principal for a janitor, a grave error of judging by appearances here. I solemnly swear never to smoke on campus again. The students in the audience burst into laughter, some even clapping. Jessica stood in the third row, also smiling at me, and I felt a bit smug. The vice principal, however, was quite magnanimous, waving his hand to signal me to step down. As winter break approached, Alex seemed preoccupied, silent all day long. I asked, "What's wrong? Is it that time of the month again?" She spat out one word, "Piss off." I said, "Seriously, what is going on? You've been off these past few days." She fell silent again, then suddenly grabbed my arm. "Just before class, can you help me beat someone up?" Holy shit, she's asking me, a guy teetering on the edge of expulsion, to go fight someone. Who? I frowned. "Taylor." I knew that guy. Rumor had it his older brother was involved with gangs. The kid acted like he owned the school, bullying people left and right. "Why do you want him beating my head?" Was starting to ache. Alex showed rare hesitation, biting her lip before saying, "He has been bullying me." That reason was enough. After evening self-study, I went to Tyler's dorm and kicked the door open. Tyler was playing cards with a few guys and thinking it was the dorm supervisor, checking and stuffed the cards into his underwear. When he saw it was me, Tyler yelled, "What the hell is wrong with you?" Without a word, I grabbed him by the neck, yanked him off the bed, and punched him square in the nose with my right fist. Blood spurted out almost instantly. His roommates tried to intervene, but Ryan and the others held him back. The cramped dorm room erupted into chaos. After about a minute of beating, Tyler was a snotty, teary mess begging for mercy. "Stop, bro. I was wrong." With that kind of pathetic attitude, he still had the nerve to act like a thug. I thought to myself. I kicked him in the stomach. "Next time you bully a girl, I'll fucking end you." I never expected that after I left, Taylor would actually report me to the teacher. The next morning, the dean, his face livid, called me out of the classroom and phoned my parents. After half an hour of discussion in the office, they decided to suspend me. I was to stay home until May and then return to take the SAT. As I packed my things to leave school, shoving books, notebooks, and all sorts of odds and ends into my bag, Alex's eyes were red-rimmed. She handed me her treasured iPod, biting her lip, as she said, "Leo, I'm sorry. I didn't know things would turn out like this." I smiled carelessly. "It's not your fault. I couldn't stand staying here anyway." She tried to return my smile, but the moment her lips quivered, tears fell like crystal drops. 6. The thing I regret most was asking you to fight someone. There was a girl in our class named Lily. Taylor often bullied her outside school and even forced her to take nude photos. When Lily was about to commit suicide, I found out she knelt before me begging me to save her. I thought about reporting it to the teacher, but I wasn't sure if they would intervene, and I was even more afraid Taylor would leak those photos, so I asked you to beat him up too. Make him leave Lily alone. But I never imagined you'd get expelled. When you left, I could still see the bruises on your face, probably from your dad, right? Yet you still smiled and said it wasn't my fault, that you could just play games at home anyway. And SATs didn't matter. That's just the kind of gentle person you are, Leo. If we had just 3 more months, would our ending have been different? I always make a mess of things. We had countless chances to be together, and I ruined every single one of them like an idiot. Getting a 59 is worse than getting a 0. The greatest regret, ISN. Team never having had something at South, coming so close and still failing. That's my biggest regret. 7. On the second day of winter break, someone called my name downstairs, sticking my head out in my fleece-lined pajamas. I was shocked to see it was Alex. She wore a white down jacket, a red scarf, and a fluffy hat, bathed in the early winter sunlight for the first time. I thought Alex looked quite pretty, if only she dressed up properly. How did you know where I live? I asked, shrinking my neck into my collar. Asked our homeroom teacher, living like a caveman. Are you with that look? You might as well have just crawled out of cave. Her sharp tongue was at it again. What do you want from me? Change your clothes. We're going out. Alex exhaled a breath and smiled at me. That winter break, I went wild. My parents had gone out of town and didn't even come back for the holidays, so I spent all my time with Ryan and the others at arcades, pool halls, and skating rinks. Alex joined in our craziness too. Whenever we played games, she'd run around buying drinks for us. When we played pool, she'd keep score on a notepad. And when we skated, she always insisted I take her along. The girl was fearless and didn't mind pain. She barely learned to stand before tugging me forward, often dragging me down face first into the ice. Don't you ever ask the people around you before smoking? Alex pinched her nose, unable to hold back her complaint. I must be even too caught up in the moment. I handed her the cigarette pack and asked with complete sincerity, want one? Ryan and the others overheard our conversation and burst into laughter while slapping the game console. Alex snatched my cigarette box and flung it down from the second floor of the arcade. Still not satisfied, she mashed random buttons on my game console, causing us to fail the level we were playing. Just then a woman's voice rang out from downstairs, practically screaming, "Who the hell is throwing stuff around? Have you got no manners?" I looked down and was surprised to see Jessica with another woman standing beside her. I hurried downstairs. Jessica had a slight red bump on her forehead, probably from the cigarette box hitting her. I quickly apologized. Sorry. We were just messing around. Are you okay? The woman next to Jessica snapped, "What do you mean messing around? Throwing a cigarette box is messing around. What if it was a bowling ball and someone got killed? Would you take responsibility then?" I blurted out, "The arcade doesn't have bowling, don't worry." The woman was taken aback by my words, opening her mouth to curse, but Jessica pulled her back and said softly, "He is my classmate." It was an opportunity. One invited Jessica to dinner under the pretext of apologizing during the meal. I quickly realized Jessica was just a shallow girl chattering endlessly about Hollywood stars and mall fashion. My enthusiasm waned instantly. Distance is the best filter from afar. Everything seems perfect up close. Flaws become glaringly obvious. As we left the restaurant, Jessica secretly slipped me a piece of paper with her phone number, saying I could call her sometime. I took the note with a smile, only to toss it straight into the trash when I got home. On New Year's Eve, I was at home, reheating pizza. Holidays were always the busiest time for my parents, so I'd long grown accustomed to spending them alone. I turned on the TV and cranked up the volume. Suddenly the door was pounded with thunderous knocks. When I opened it, there stood Alex. I said, "What kind of way is that to knock? Are you here to settle a score or collect a debt?" Alex lifted the bag in her hand. "I came to keep you company for the holidays. R&T, you going to appreciate it." The bag contained some food and a few bottles of liquor. Alex changed in his slippers, rolled up her sleeves, and went to boil water. What happened next was an eye-opener. She poured cola into the electric kettle, let it boil, then mixed it with vodka before pouring us each a large glass. As the Times Square New Year's Eve special played on TV, she barked at me, "What are you staring at? Drink up." I eyed the murky liquid with trepidation. "This stuff won't poison us, will it?" She said, "No, my dad often drinks like this. He says it warms the body." I said, "Forget it. I'll just stick to beer." Alex raised an eyebrow, and I knew trouble was coming. Just as I was about to run, she pounced on me. I caught a whiff of her fragrance as she grabbed my neck, pried my mouth open, and poured half a glass down my throat. Before I could react, warm spread through my stomach, followed by a wave of dizziness. Alex laughed. "You really are the type who refuses a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." And so we drank from 8:30 until midnight. At one point, Alex answered a phone call, probably from her family. She lied, saying she was at a female classmate's place and would return home the next morning. Since it was too late, both of us flushed red. We dozed off watching TV. In the early hours, I woke up shivering and saw Alex curled up asleep on the sofa. Faint firework sound still echoed outside the window. I carried her to the bed and pulled the blanket over her. Just then she suddenly opened her eyes, startling me so badly I fell back onto the floor. "What do you want to do?" The blush on her face hadn't faded yet. "What could I do? I was worried you'd catch a cold," I stammered. "Want to give it a try?" Her clear eyes stared straight at me. "Try what?" "Sex." She uttered the two words. Holy shit. I jumped up in shock. This crazy woman must be drunk out of her mind. I treated her like a bro, and she actually wants to sleep with me. "Are you drunk?" I was completely flustered, my hands fidgeting awkwardly. "What are you scared of?" "I'm not asking you to take responsibility. Just this once, yes or no." Her expression was disturbingly serious. "Go to sleep." "I'm sleeping in the study." I turned to leave, nearly catching my hand in the door as I closed it. Early the next morning, Alex walked out of my room, stretching lazily before calling out to me, "I'm starving. Got anything to eat?" Still shaken, I watched her revert to her tomboyish self, rummaging for snacks. I said, "Last night you." "What about me?" she asked with genuine confusion, of course, that had just been her drunken antics. "Never mind, let us go grab breakfast downstairs. There's a place that sells donuts." I exhaled in relief. After the new year, Alex sought me out twice more, perhaps influenced by that incident. My heart would flutter whenever she approached me, though she never noticed anything unusual. Once school resumed, the pressure of SATs came crashing down, with only one day off each month. The next time I saw Alex wasn't until May, when I returned to campus. 8 Leo, you know what, I was drunk at all that New Year's Eve. You're my favorite person. That's why I said those things. When I was little, I read a story about a hedgehog who fell in love with a rabbit, but whenever the hedgehog got close, its quills would prick the rabbit, making the hedgehog very sad. Then the hedgehog thought of a clever solution. It rolled around the autumn forest until its spines were covered with fruits. That way, when it hugged the rabbit wouldn't get hurt. After autumn passed, the fruits withered, and the hedgehog tried to shake them off but couldn't. It grew uglier and uglier until no one wanted to be near it, not even the rabbit. But at the end of the story, the hedgehog was still happy because it had finally hugged the one it loved. Leo, the first and that hedgehog, I want to give you all the best, my most beautiful appearance, my youngest body, and my gentlest heart. I want to give all of this to you. I once passed by your heart. I longed to stay, but you wouldn't take me in. 9 Alex had grown out her hair and no longer dressed in a gender-neutral style. When I walked in the classroom, I almost didn't recognize her. I don't know if it was the stress from the SATs, but she had lost a lot of weight and didn't look well. I'm back, I shouted from the podium. The homeroom teacher kicked me in the, but what are you so smug about? Get to your seat and sit down properly. The whole class burst into laughter, and Alex's lips curled slightly. After putting my things away, I whispered to her, I bought you caramel apples, I'll give them to you later. Alex loved the caramel apple from Old Street Corner, probably the only girlish habit she had left during winter break. She dragged me through 3 bus transfers just to buy them. When I devoured one in under 10 seconds, taking huge bites, Alex angrily punched me, saying I was ruining good food. Alex's eyes turned slightly red as she said thank you. At the time, I thought I was dreaming, this crazy girl actually saying thank you. If the homeroom teacher hadn't still been at the podium, I would reached out to feel her forehead to check if she had a fever. At lunch in the cafeteria, Alex stopped trading barbs with me. Her silence was unusually out of character. Hey Alex, what's wrong? Did someone bully you again? No, she answered reflexively. Then why are you acting so weird? This isn't like you. The homeroom teacher scolded me. She confessed, said with these scores I'd be lucky to get into a decent state university. Hey, is that all? If we can't get into college, we'll just work at McDonald's together. Get lost. She cursed at me. With a laugh, relieved, I dug into my meal with gusto. 10 days before the SAT, to boost morale, our homeroom teacher made each of us write an inspirational phrase, a clear exercise in self-deception. As if scribbling a few words could magically raise our scores, I jotted down some random lines, never expecting the teacher would make us read them aloud in front of the class. Everyone else had written things like, where there S.A. will there S.A. way, or hard work pays off. When my turn came, I gave the teacher a pleading look. Do I really have to read this? The homeroom teacher glanced at the words in my notebook and scolded me with amusement. No way, read it out loud. I cleared my throat. I will study hard and make progress every day, contributing to society in the future. The teacher slapped the desk. Read what you actually wrote. There was no way to bluff my way out, so I had to shout, I'm the man. Who's going to be king of the pirates? How can I fall here? Ryan and the others clapped, loudly laughing so hard they nearly cried. Alex was also slumped over the desk, her body shaking slightly. I wished I could find a block of tofu to bash my head against. And then the homeroom teacher kicked me off the stage with another shove. Leo, what do you want to do in the future? Alex asked me as we sat together on the playground late at night. I don't know, I want to play music. College is boring. You can play the piano, guitar. You didn't know? Did you? I've been learning guitar since I was 12 from the neighbor uncle. Really? She jumped up, excitedly. Play it for me. The school doesn't have a guitar. I flicked away the cigarette. But yes, it does. Teacher Lynn from the music department has one in his office. It's so late, he must have gone home by now. Alex yanked me up, and together we sneaked to the 3rd floor office. As expected, Mr. Lynn had already locked up and left. Alex took a few reckless steps back, motioning for me to move aside. A sense of foreboding surged in me. But before I could stop her, she kicked the office door with a thunderous boom. I nearly lost my mind. If we got caught, even my SAT scores would be toast. After kicking the door open, Alex grabbed Mr. Lynn's guitar and bolted upstairs. I hurried after her all the way to the rooftop. Here, give it a try, she panted, handing me the guitar. Remember, if I get expelled, this is going to be my funeral song, I grumbled as I took it. That quiet night, I played song after song, Guns N' Roses, Knockin' on Heaven's Door, the Beatles, Yesterday, the Eagles, Hotel California. Alex leaned against me, occasionally humming along softly under the starry sky. I caught the scent of her hair again. As her head rested on my shoulder, my heart trembled violently. I turned to glance at her, just in time to see the tenderness in her eyes. Playing the guitar string snapped, and Alex seemed to remember something, hastily standing up. Hurry back to the dorm, she said while running. The dorm is about to close. 10 Leo, do you have a crush on Alex? Ryan blurted out after a shower. Piss off, I snapped at him. What's the big deal? If you like her, you like her. If you don't, you don't, he said, putting on his tracksuit and standing on the balcony to catch the breeze. None of your damn business. Trying to laugh at me again. I thought to myself. We're best friends. Ryan turned to look at me. So, I'll only ask you this once. I can tell you first that I like Alex, but if you like Alex too, I can give up. But if you say you don't like her, then I'm going to pursue her after the exams. Think carefully before you answer. Don't let yourself regret it. My heart twisted into knots as I forced out a sentence. Why would you give up? Because she's happier when she's with you. You don't know this, but she hardly smiled at all these past few months. I don't know, maybe a little bit. It's hard to explain, I answered truthfully. Then seized the opportunity, Ryan patted my shoulder. She's a good girl. That night, I lay awake till dawn. At 18, my concept of love was still vague. My mind was full of thoughts about having fun, and while I certainly fantasized about sex, those were just hormonal impulses. Did I like Alex? Did she like me? These two questions became the final puzzle that kept me tossing and turning all night. In the early morning, I finally found the answer. Those heartbeats don't lie. I like Alex, and I'm going to confess to her. On the night of our graduation ceremony, our dorm had a farewell dinner, and everyone drank quite a bit. Fueled by alcohol, I mustered all my courage, reeking of liquor, hailed a cab, and went to another restaurant where Alex was having her farewell dinner. I pulled her out of the private room. How much have you had to drink, Alex? Pinch your nose. Don't talk, let me speak. Damn, my heart was about to leap out of my throat. Alex, my voice was booming. What kind of drunken nonsense is this? Do you need me to take you home? Alex moved to support me. Stubbornly, I stood facing her, looking straight into her eyes as I practically shouted my confession. Alex, I like you. That sentence seemed to drain all my energy. The world swayed before my eyes, and Alex's figure split into 3 blurry images. After a long silence, Alex gave me her cold reply, you're drunk, go home. Then you don't like me? I pressed on desperately. I don't. Alex flagged down a taxi and tried to push me into the back seat. I shook off her hand and jumped out of the car again. If you don't like me, why did you give me presents? Why spend holidays with me? Why that night when I was practically spitting with frustration? Are you fucking crazy? Who do you think you are? Why the hell should I like you? Alex's eyes were red-rimmed. She was genuinely angry this time. She spat those words at me before turning to leave. At the corner, I saw her wiping away tears. I sat by the roadside, lit a cigarette, and burst into laughter. The hurried passersby all looked at me like I was some kind of monster. Thought I was the protagonist of a youth movie, but turns out I'm just a self-deluded loser. I laughed until tears streamed down my face, staggered to my feet, and recklessly crossed the street, only to be hit by a motorcycle. I heard screams before everything went black. What should have been a relaxing holiday was mostly spent in bed. Broken leg, messed up face. When Ryan and the others visited me at the hospital, Ryan pointed at the door. Alex is outside too. She is too scared to come in. I smiled reassuringly. It's fine, let her come in. Alex shuffled timidly to my bedside. Perhaps my recklessness had made her feel guilty, so I told her, don't worry, the doctor said I'll be able to get out of bed in half a month. Alex looked even thinner than before, gaunt to the point of appearing haggard with swollen eyes. She said, I'm sorry, I should have seen you home. What has it got to do with you? It was my own carelessness. No, it was that motorcycle bastard who couldn't see straight, accelerating while turning. Alex stopped talking until my parents came in. She turned to leave, but I called her back. I pulled out a box from under my bed and handed it to her. Inside were the wristband she'd given me, guitar picks, and the photo booth pictures we'd taken together. Sorry, but I think we're better off just being friends. Alex shuddered, took the box, and silently walked away. It's over. Just a ridiculous love story from my youth with me as the protagonist and a heroine who never existed. Let me think carefully. Did I ever see Alex again after that? It seems there was one more time. Just before I boarded the train to leave for university in another city, I spotted Alex on the platform, wearing a white dress, her hair now long enough to cascade over her shoulders, bathed in golden sunlight. She wore exquisite makeup, her skin as pale as snow, her figure tall and graceful, the corners of her eyes curved like delicate bridges. Her smile radiant beyond measure. She was waving goodbye to me. I was stunned by her appearance. She was more beautiful than any girl I'd ever seen. Even Jessica, who was known as the school beauty, would pale in comparison, standing beside her. I was just about to say something to her when the train started moving and her figure gradually receded beyond my sight. 11. The ringing of my phone pulled me back from my memories. I glanced at the letter in my hand, its yellowed pages dotted with tear stains. By now, I was certain this letter wasn't a prank. But why did she reject me when I confessed my feelings to her? Still in that cruel way, Leo, the first turn down your confession. You must be heartbroken. That night, watching you sitting by the roadside, crying your heart out, I couldn't help but want to rush over and hold you, but reason held me back. What right did I have to disrupt your life? I'd rather have you dislike me, hate me, than let you fall for me, only to lose me in the end. A boy as gentle as you, even if rejected in confession, would surely move on quickly, but if you fell in love with someone and then had to part ways, how could you possibly bear that pain? It's been 10 years, and I believe you've let go of everything by now. I'm writing this letter just to tell you that during your youth, there was a girl who liked you very much. She was good at expressing her feelings. If you ever sensed even a hint of her affection for you, multiply that feeling by 10,000. That is how much she truly cared for you. She enjoyed chatting with you in class, laughing heartily at your jokes. She loved strolling with you, watching you stubbornly cling to your pride, even when broke, insisting on buying her caramel apples, even if it meant walking home. She loved listening to you sing. When you sang, your eyes sparkled with light. She enjoys being with you, even if doing nothing at all. she can feel happiness washing over her. She loved changing for you, becoming the person you envisioned. She loved giving you the best of everything, just like that final scene. When you look back, it feels so beautiful. Leo, live happily. I'll be sincerely wishing you well from a corner. You can't see this is my first love letter and also my last. May everything go well for you, Alex. 12. I practically stormed into Ryan's company. He was in the middle of a meeting when I dragged him out by force. What the hell is your house on fire? Ryan snapped at me. Where's Alex? My voice was trembling. Where's Alex now? How should I know? It's been years since graduation, Ryan said, turning his head away. Look at me, damn it. I shouted so loudly that Ryan's co-workers turned to stare. If you ever consider me a friend, you tell me the truth. What is wrong with you? Ryan's eyes were panicked. Take me to see her. Take me to see her. My nails dug into Ryan's arm. Ryan sighed, all right, but promise me you won't do anything foolish. I finally saw Alex. The black and white photo on the tombstone showed her smiling peacefully. The grave was neatly tended. Someone must have been visiting her regularly. That spring of senior year, they found a tumor in her brain. The doctors said it was malignant and needed immediate surgery, but she insisted on taking the SAT first. On the day you took the train to college, she went to see you that same night. She was scheduled for chemotherapy. She said she just wanted you to remember her beautiful self. Later, as her condition worsened, she called every classmate begging us to keep it secret from you. She said she already hurt you once and couldn't bear to make you sad again. She passed away late at night. She asked to see the stars, so the nurse opened the window. She said she missed someone terribly. When the nurse asked who she didn't answer, the nurse looked down to find her eyes closed, as if peacefully asleep. Ryan sat beside me, speaking softly. The girl in the photograph looked gentle and serene, just like when she used to watch me sleep. Leo, when people die, they become stars right under a sky full of stars. Alex nestled against my shoulder. Damn, the string snapped. Let us put the guitar away. My heart was pounding, but I tried to keep my composure. Of course they do all become that star. Remember it well. Whenever you see it in the future, that LL be me waving at you. Alex pointed to a star in the southeast. At that moment, countless heads turned toward me, and the disheveled blonde on my screen struck a seductive pose. I wished I could vanish into thin air. Silly Alex smiled softly and leaned her head closer against my neck. Tears finally burst forth uncontrollably. The best girl in my life had given me all her tenderness, then quietly left without my knowing. How fortunate I was to have won this angel's favor in my youth. I wailed without a care for my dignity as the gentle breeze caressed my face like a touch from the heavens. Epilogue. Hello, how can I help you? I stood up. Entering the shop was a frail girl wearing a tracksuit and a black cap. Her complexion was poor, almost devoid of color. Time capsule shop. What do you do here? She asked me softly. In simple terms, you can write a letter or leave something behind, then set a date. When I'll mail it out, it could be expectations for your future self or messages to a friend. Anything goes, I patiently explained. How long can the time limit be? Up to 10 years maximum. But most customers choose 3 or 5 years. 10 years has too many variables and it's a bit more expensive. The girl seemed quite interested and sat down to select stationery. Her health wasn't great. She rewrote the letter multiple times, restarting if even a single punctuation mark was wrong. Before we knew it, dusk had fallen. When she finally finished, she smiled apologetically at me. Sorry for taking up your time. It's okay. I put away the letter along with the little things she had left behind. At 10:30 in the evening, I had already closed the shop when the girl came back again. She knocked urgently, and as soon as I opened the door, she bowed deeply. I'm sorry. Could I have that letter back? Are you worried we won't deliver it? Don't worry. Even if the shop goes out of business, I'll make sure it reaches you. I joked. No, you don't have to refund the money. Just give me the letter back. The girl's strange behavior caught my attention. After returning the letter to her and watching her take her things away, I quietly followed behind, partly out of curiosity and partly because she looked so frail that I feared something might happen to her. She cried almost the entire way, clutching the letter to her chest. Later, when she reached the street, she spotted a large tree, picked up a branch, and slowly dug a small hole, burying the letter and the small trinket inside. I had never seen a girl so heartbroken. She couldn't have been more than 20 in age. That should have been bright and carefree. So why was she like this? After she left, I dug up those items and brought them back to the shop. The back of the envelope was filthy from the dirt, but fortunately, it was made of special paper that could be cleaned. As I pulled out the letter to wash the envelope, I caught a glimpse of its contents. I'm not usually a sentimental person, but this girl's story moved me deeply. Even in the end, she would rather bury this secret in her heart than disrupt that boy's life again. Such a wonderful girl deserves to have her feelings known. Selfishly, I made the decision for her, tucking that letter and keepsakes into the time capsule, marking the lid with a date. In 10 years, I'll deliver them for her. Time will carry away all suffering and pain, but love endures. This, I truly believe. The end.